Let me tell you something that most people never want to hear. Motivation is a lie. Not because motivation doesn't exist, but because people have been taught to depend on it. They wait until they feel inspired. They wait until they feel confident. They wait until they feel ready. And while they're waiting, somebody else is moving. Somebody else is working. Somebody else is building the future they claim they want. If you want your life to be different before 2027, the first thing you must improve is your self-discipline. Because motivation comes and goes, but discipline stays. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is a decision. Think about how many times you've promised yourself that you're going to change. Maybe you said you're going to wake up earlier. Maybe you're going to start exercising. Maybe you're going to stop wasting time online. Maybe you're going to learn a new skill or start a business. In that moment, you felt powerful. You felt excited. You felt motivated. But then a few days later, reality showed up. You were tired. You were distracted. You didn't feel like doing the work anymore. And suddenly the goal that seemed so important became something you postponed for another day. This cycle destroys more dreams than failure ever could. The truth is that successful people are not more motivated than everyone else. They simply have a stronger relationship with discipline. They understand something that average people never learn. They know that their feelings are temporary, but their responsibilities are permanent. When they wake up and don't feel like working, they work anyway. When they don't feel like training, they train anyway. When they don't feel like studying, they study anyway. They refuse to negotiate with their emotions because they understand that emotions change every hour. Imagine if a professional athlete only trained when they felt motivated. Imagine if a surgeon only operated when they were in the mood. Imagine if a pilot only flew a plane when they felt inspired. It sounds ridiculous because we understand that serious results require consistent action. Yet millions of people approach their own dreams with less commitment than a pilot approaches a routine flight. They expect extraordinary outcomes from ordinary effort. The problem isn't that people don't know what to do. Most people already know what they should be doing. They know they should exercise. They know they should eat healthier. They know they should spend less time scrolling through their phones. They know they should save money. Information isn't the problem. Execution is the problem. And execution is where discipline becomes the ultimate advantage. Self-discipline is really the ability to keep promises to yourself. Think about that for a moment. Every time you say you're going to do something and then don't do it, you weaken your trust in yourself. Every broken promise sends a message to your brain that your word doesn't matter. Over time, you begin to doubt yourself. You begin to question your own abilities. You start believing that you're not capable of change. The truth is, you're not lacking potential. You're lacking consistency. The most dangerous habit in modern society is comfort addiction. People have become obsessed with convenience. They want everything to be easy. They want success without struggle. They want confidence without discomfort. They want results without sacrifice. Every meaningful achievement in life requires you to do things that are difficult. Gym is difficult. Building a business is difficult. Learning new skills is difficult. Having difficult conversations is difficult. Growth itself is difficult. The moment you stop running from discomfort is the moment your life begins to change. One of the reasons discipline is so powerful is because it creates freedom. Most people think discipline restricts them. They think routines and structure take away their freedom. The opposite is true. Discipline gives you freedom from laziness, freedom from procrastination, freedom from regret, freedom from living a life controlled by your impulses. When you develop discipline, you stop being a passenger in your own life and become the driver. Look at the people who achieve extraordinary things. They aren't superhuman. They aren't operating with some secret advantage that nobody else has access to. What they have is the ability to stay committed long after the excitement disappears. They understand that success is not built in a single day. It's built in thousands of small decisions repeated over and over again. Every time they choose discipline over comfort, they're casting a vote for the person they want to become. The reality is that your future self is watching you right now. The person you'll become in 2027 is being created by today's actions, not tomorrow's actions, not next month's actions, today's actions. Every decision matters. Every excuse matters. Every habit matters. People underestimate the power of small choices because they don't see immediate results. Success is often invisible until it becomes impossible to ignore. The workout you complete today may not transform your body overnight. The book you read today may not immediately change your life. The skill you practice today may not instantly make you successful. These actions accumulate, they compound, they create momentum. Most people are searching for a breakthrough when what they really need is a routine. They're looking for some magical moment that will suddenly change everything. Life doesn't work that way. Transformation happens through repetition. It happens through discipline. It happens when you decide that your goals are more important than your temporary feelings. Here's something even more important. Discipline builds confidence. People often think confidence comes first. They believe they'll take action once they feel confident enough. But confidence is earned through action. Every time you do something difficult, you prove to yourself that you're stronger than your excuses. Every time you keep your word, you increase your self-respect. Every time you overcome resistance, you become a little more confident in your ability to handle challenges. The next time you don't feel like doing something important, remember this. Your feelings are not commands. They are suggestions. You don't have to obey them. You can choose to act despite them. The person who masters this skill gains an advantage that most people never develop. Because while the world waits for motivation, discipline keeps moving forward. While others make excuses, discipline takes action. While others dream about a better future, discipline quietly builds it one day at a time. One of the biggest reasons people fail to achieve the life they want has nothing to do with talent, money, education, or opportunity. The real problem exists inside their minds. Before someone loses in reality, they lose in their thinking. Before someone gives up on a dream, they first convince themselves that the dream is impossible. Before someone achieves success, they usually have to win an internal battle against doubt, fear, and limiting beliefs. If you want to transform your life before 2027, then you must upgrade the way you think, because your mindset determines the quality of every decision you make. Get if you're at term. Most people are carrying mental programs that were installed years ago. Some were created by parents, teachers, friends, failures, or negative experiences. Maybe someone told them they weren't smart enough. Maybe they failed once and decided they were incapable. Maybe they grew up watching people struggle and subconsciously accepted struggle as normal. Over time, these beliefs became part of their identity. They stopped questioning them. They stopped challenging them. They accepted them as facts. The dangerous thing about limiting beliefs is that they often sound like the truth, even when they are completely false. Think about how many people say things like, "I'm not good with money. I'm not confident. I'm not disciplined. I'm just unlucky." These statements seem harmless, but every time they are repeated, they become stronger. Eventually, people stop describing their circumstances and start defining themselves by them. They don't say, "I currently struggle with discipline." They say, "I am not a disciplined person." That small difference changes everything, because when a problem becomes part of your identity, solving it becomes much harder. The mind is powerful because it constantly searches for evidence to support what you already believe. If you believe you're unlucky, your brain will notice every setback and ignore every opportunity. If you believe you're incapable, your brain will focus on every mistake and overlook every success. If you believe success is impossible for you, your actions will eventually reflect that belief. Your life begins to mirror your mindset. That's why two people can face the exact same challenge and produce completely different results. One sees a problem, the other sees a lesson. One sees rejection. The other sees feedback. One sees failure. The other sees growth. Truth is that successful people don't have fewer problems. They simply interpret problems differently. They understand that obstacles are not signs to stop. Obstacles are tests of commitment. Every challenge contains information. Every setback contains a lesson. Every failure contains feedback. Most people never discover these lessons because they become emotional and quit before they can learn anything valuable. A victim mentality is one of the most destructive mindsets a person can develop. Victim mentality constantly searches for someone else to blame. It blames the economy, the government, bad luck, childhood experiences, competitors, circumstances, and other people. While there are certainly factors outside your control, focusing on them gives away your power. The moment you blame everything outside yourself, you lose the ability to change anything. Responsibility, on the other hand, gives you power. Responsibility doesn't mean everything is your fault. It means you're willing to take ownership of your response. Imagine two individuals facing the same setback. One spends months complaining about how unfair life is. The other immediately asks, "What can I learn from this?" Which person do you think grows faster? Which person becomes stronger? Which person creates better opportunities? The difference is mindset. One person focuses on excuses. The other focuses on solutions. Another dangerous belief that holds people back is the idea that success belongs only to special people. Many individuals look at successful entrepreneurs, athletes, leaders, and creators and assume they were born different. They convince themselves that success is reserved for the gifted few. What they fail to see are the years of effort, sacrifice, mistakes, rejection, and persistence that happen behind the scenes. Success often looks effortless from a distance because people only see the result, not the process, Curio. Your mind will either become your greatest ally or your greatest enemy. Every day, there is a conversation happening inside your head. Some people use that conversation to encourage themselves, challenge themselves, and push themselves forward. Others use it to criticize themselves, doubt themselves, and limit themselves. The words you repeatedly tell yourself matter because they shape your perception of reality. If you constantly tell yourself that you're weak, you'll act weak. If you constantly remind yourself that you're capable of growth, you'll begin taking actions that reflect that belief. One of the most important mindset shifts you can make before 2027 is learning to become comfortable with discomfort. Most people spend their lives avoiding difficult situations. They avoid rejection. They avoid criticism. They avoid failure. They avoid uncertainty. Every opportunity for growth exists on the other side of those experiences. Confidence is built through facing challenges. Strength is built through resistance. Wisdom is built through mistakes. People who grow the fastest are not the people who avoid discomfort. They are the people who embrace it. Every major achievement begins with a decision to believe something better about yourself. Not blindly, not arrogantly, but intentionally. You must start seeing yourself as someone capable of learning new skills, overcoming challenges, and creating results. Because if you don't believe improvement is possible, you'll never put in the effort required to improve. Many people spend years waiting for evidence before they believe in themselves. They say they'll become confident after they succeed. They'll believe in themselves after they achieve results. Confidence doesn't work that way. Confidence grows when you repeatedly take action despite uncertainty. Every small victory sends a message to your brain that you've become more capable than you previously believed. Every challenge you overcome expands your self-image. The people who transform their lives before everyone else aren't necessarily smarter or more talented. They simply refuse to stay trapped inside outdated beliefs. They continuously upgrade their thinking. They challenge their assumptions. They question negative stories they've been telling themselves for years. They refuse to let their past define their future. They understand that the version of themselves that created their current results may not be the version capable of creating the future they desire. And that's why upgrading your mindset isn't just another step towards success. It's the foundation upon which every other improvement is built. Because when your thinking changes, your decisions change. When your decisions change, your actions change. And when your actions change consistently, your entire life begins moving in a different direction. Let me ask you a serious question. How many people spend years working hard, waking up early, sacrificing their time and energy, yet still find themselves trapped in the same financial position year after year? The answer is millions. The reason isn't always a lack of effort. In many cases, the problem is a lack of financial intelligence. People are taught how to work for money, but very few are taught how money actually works. They spend their entire lives chasing income without understanding wealth. If you want your life to look dramatically different before 2027, then improving your financial intelligence is not optional. It is essential. Most people grow up believing that earning money and building wealth are the same thing. They are not. Earning money is important, but wealth is created by what you do with the money after you earn it. There are people making large incomes who are drowning in debt, and there are people with average incomes who steadily build financial security over time. The difference is knowledge. The difference is understanding. The difference is financial intelligence. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing money is purely about luck. They see successful people driving expensive cars, living in beautiful homes, and enjoying financial freedom, and they assume those individuals were simply fortunate. What they fail to see is the thinking behind the results. Financial success usually begins long before the money appears. It starts with learning. It starts with developing valuable skills. It starts with understanding opportunities that other people ignore. Think about it this way. If someone handed you $1 million today, but you had no financial intelligence, how long would that money last? For many people, the answer is not very long. History is filled with examples of lottery winners, athletes, entertainers, and business owners who earned enormous amounts of money only to lose everything. Why? Because income without financial intelligence is temporary. Money amplifies who you already are. If you manage money poorly, having more of it simply creates bigger mistakes. The first step toward financial intelligence is understanding that your income is directly connected to the value you provide. Marketplace rewards skills, solutions, and results. The more valuable you become, the more opportunities you create for yourself. Yet many people spend years wishing for higher income while refusing to develop new skills. They want bigger rewards without becoming more valuable. The world doesn't operate that way. Look at the most successful individuals in almost every industry. They continuously learn. They continuously improve. They continuously adapt. While average people spend hours consuming entertainment, successful people spend time acquiring knowledge. They understand that skills are assets. A valuable skill can generate income for years. A valuable skill can open doors that didn't exist before. A valuable skill can change the trajectory of an entire life. Another dangerous trap that keeps people financially stuck is the obsession with looking rich instead of becoming rich. Modern society encourages people to spend money they don't have in order to impress people they don't even know. Expensive clothes, unnecessary purchases, constant upgrades, and lifestyle inflation create an illusion of success while silently destroying financial progress. Many people increase their income only to increase their spending. As a result, they remain trapped despite earning more than ever before. Financial intelligence teaches you to think differently. It teaches you to ask better questions. Instead of asking, "What can I buy?" you begin asking, "How can I invest?" Instead of asking, "How can I spend this money?" you ask, "How can I make this money work for me?" This shift in thinking changes everything because money is no longer viewed as something to suck, consume immediately. It becomes a tool for creating future opportunities. One of the most powerful concepts you can understand before 2027 is the difference between assets and liabilities. Assets put money into your pocket. Liabilities take money out of your pocket. Financially intelligent people focus on acquiring things that generate value over time. They understand that true wealth is not measured by appearances. It is measured by ownership, cash flow, skills, and opportunities. Many people spend their lives trapped in a cycle of immediate gratification. They want rewards now. They want comfort now. They want pleasure now. The problem is that financial success often requires delayed gratification. It requires the ability to sacrifice something today in order to gain something greater tomorrow. This is one of the hardest skills to master because human nature naturally seeks immediate rewards. Yet the people who achieve financial freedom are usually the people who learn to think long-term. Imagine two individuals earning the same income. One spends everything immediately and saves nothing. The other consistently invests in skills, knowledge, and opportunities. Fast forward 5 years. Their lives look completely different, not because one was luckier than the other, but because their decisions compounded over time. Financial success is often less about dramatic breakthroughs and more about consistent, intelligent choices repeated over years. Another important lesson is understanding that fear often keeps people poor. Fear of failure, fear of risk, fear of criticism, fear of starting something new. While reckless decisions should always be avoided, many people use fear as an excuse to avoid growth. They remain in situations they dislike because uncertainty feels uncomfortable. They stay stuck because familiarity feels safe. The problem is that growth rarely happens inside comfort zones. Financial intelligence also requires emotional control. This is something people rarely talk about. Money decisions are often emotional decisions disguised as logical ones. People panic during difficult times. They make impulsive purchases. They compare themselves to others. They chase trends without understanding them. Financially intelligent people learn to separate emotions from decision-making. They remain calm when others panic. They think long-term when others focus only on the present moment. One of the greatest investments you can ever make is in yourself. Knowledge compounds. Skills compound. Experience compounds. Every book you read, every skill you develop, every lesson you learn becomes part of who you are. Unlike material possessions that lose value over time, personal growth often increases in value. The person who continuously invests in themselves becomes more adaptable, more capable, and more valuable in the marketplace. As 2027 approaches, many people will continue doing exactly what they've always done. They'll complain about money while refusing to learn about it. They'll dream about financial freedom while avoiding the habits required to achieve it. They'll focus on appearances instead of assets. They'll chase temporary pleasure instead of long-term growth. Those who choose to improve their financial intelligence will begin seeing the world differently. They'll recognize opportunities where others see obstacles. They'll understand that wealth is built through knowledge, discipline, patience, and value creation. They'll stop relying solely on effort and start combining effort with strategy. Understanding that financial success is not just about working harder, but about thinking smarter, becoming more valuable, and making decisions that continue producing results long after the initial work has been completed. Let me tell you something that many people don't want to hear. The condition of your body often reflects the condition of your mind. That doesn't mean every successful person looks like an athlete, and it doesn't mean physical appearance determines your worth. What it means is that the habits required to build a strong body are often the same habits it's required to build a successful life. Discipline, consistency, patience, resilience, self-respect. These qualities don't stay inside the gym. They follow you into every area of your life. If you want to become a stronger version of yourself before 2027, then improving your body and strengthening your character must become a priority. We live in a world where convenience is bitby. Food can be delivered to your door in minutes. Entertainment is available 24 hours a day. Comfort is constantly within reach. While convenience makes life easier, it also creates a dangerous problem. People become comfortable being comfortable. They avoid physical challenges. They avoid difficult tasks. They avoid anything that requires effort. Over time, this habit doesn't just weaken the body, it weakens the mind. Think about the difference between a person who regularly challenges themselves physically and someone who avoids challenges whenever possible. One individual is constantly proving to themselves that they can overcome discomfort. The other is training themselves to seek the easiest path. Those habits eventually affect confidence, decision-making, and personal growth. Every difficult workout completed, every early morning endured, every challenge faced becomes evidence that you are capable of more than you thought. One of the greatest benefits of physical training has nothing to do with muscles. It has everything to do with identity. When you commit to improving your health, you begin changing the way you see yourself. You stop identifying as someone who quits easily. You stop identifying as someone controlled by excuses. You start seeing yourself as someone who follows through, someone who takes action, someone who can be trusted to do difficult things even when no one is watching. The reality is that energy is one of the most valuable assets you possess. Without energy, it becomes difficult to focus, difficult to learn, difficult to work, difficult to pursue goals. Yet many people treat their health as an afterthought. They sacrifice sleep, ignore nutrition, avoid exercise, and then wonder why they constantly feel tired, unmotivated, and overwhelmed. Body and mind are connected. When one suffers, the other often suffers as well. Imagine trying to build an extraordinary future while operating at half your potential every day. Imagine trying to chase your dreams while feeling exhausted, distracted, and unhealthy. Many people are fighting battles they could significantly improve simply by taking better care of themselves. Better sleep improves focus. Better nutrition improves performance. Regular exercise improves confidence and mental clarity. These aren't small advantages. They are life-changing advantages. Physical strength also teaches a lesson that applies to every area of life. Progress takes time. Nobody walks into a gym once and transforms their body. Nobody becomes stronger overnight. Improvement happens gradually, one workout at a time, one healthy choice at a time, one disciplined decision at a time. This lesson is incredibly important because many people quit too early. They expect immediate results. They expect instant transformation. When success doesn't happen quickly, they become discouraged, but the strongest people understand something different. They understand that consistency beats intensity. They know that small actions repeated every day eventually create extraordinary outcomes. This principle applies not only to fitness but to business, relationships, finances, and personal growth. Success rarely comes from one massive effort. It comes from thousands of small efforts performed consistently over time. Character is built in exactly the same way. Character is not something you're born with. Character is developed through choices. It is developed when you choose honesty even when lying would be easier. It is developed when you choose responsibility instead of excuses. It is developed when you remain committed during difficult times instead of giving up at the first sign of discomfort. The world often celebrates results while ignoring the character required to achieve them. People admire confidence, but rarely appreciate the struggles that built it. People admire strength, but rarely acknowledge the sacrifices behind it. People admire success, but rarely understand the discipline it demanded. Strong character is often invisible until life becomes difficult. That's when it reveals itself. When challenges arrive, and they always do, your character becomes your foundation. Difficult situations expose who you really are. They reveal whether you are resilient or fragile, disciplined or careless, responsible or reactive. That's why building character before problems arrive is so important. You don't wait for a storm to strengthen the foundation of a building. You strengthen it beforehand. Another critical aspect of character is self-respect. Self-respect is earned through behavior. It grows when your actions align with your values. It grows when you keep promises to yourself. It grows when you do the right thing even when nobody is watching. Many people search for confidence externally. They seek validation from social media, approval from strangers, or recognition from others. But true confidence comes from knowing who you are and knowing that your actions match your standards. One reason physical training is so powerful is because it forces honesty. The mirror doesn't care about excuses. The weights don't care about intentions. Results come from effort, consistency, and discipline. This honesty creates accountability. It teaches people to take responsibility for their choices instead of blaming circumstances. And once someone develops that mindset in one area of life, it often spreads into other areas. As 2027 approaches, many people will continue making promises they never keep. They'll talk about change without changing. They'll discuss goals without taking action. They'll continue choosing comfort over growth. Those who decide to strengthen both their bodies and their character will experience something different. They'll develop greater confidence, greater discipline, greater resilience, and greater self-respect. They'll become the type of individuals who don't just dream about success, but actively prepare themselves for it every single day. Because at the end of the day, the quality of your future is deeply connected to the quality of the person you become. Then every challenge you willingly embrace today is shaping a stronger, wiser, and more capable version of yourself for tomorrow. As we come to the end of this speech, I want you to remember one thing above all else. 2027 is coming whether you're ready or not. The days will pass, months will pass, time will continue moving forward with or without your permission. The only question is who you will become by the time it arrives today. We've talked about 4 critical areas that have the power to transform your future. We discussed the importance of mastering self-discipline before motivation disappears. Because motivation is temporary, but discipline creates lasting results. We explored the need to upgrade your mindset and eliminate the limiting beliefs that keep you trapped in the same patterns year after year. We examined why financial intelligence is no longer optional in a world that rewards value, knowledge, and strategic thinking. Finally, we talked about building a stronger body and stronger character, understanding that true strength is not just physical. It is the ability to remain disciplined, resilient, and committed when life becomes difficult. The truth is that success is rarely determined by one massive decision. It is usually determined by the small choices you make every single day. The choice to wake up when the alarm rings. The choice to keep learning when others stop growing. The choice to invest in yourself when others spend everything on temporary pleasures. The choice to embrace discomfort instead of running from it. These decisions may seem insignificant in the moment, but over time, they become the difference between an average life and an extraordinary one. Most people will hear messages like this and do nothing. They'll feel inspired for a few minutes, then return to old habits, old excuses, and old routines. A year from now, their lives will look almost exactly the same. But a small percentage of people will make a different decision. They'll take responsibility, they'll raise their standards, they'll commit to becoming stronger, smarter, more disciplined, and more capable. Those people will create opportunities where others see obstacles. They'll build momentum while others make excuses. They'll transform themselves before the world even notices. Your future is not being decided in some distant moment. It is being decided right now. With every action, every habit, every choice, you are either moving closer to the life you want or further away from it. The person you become before 2027 will not be created by luck, talent, or circumstance. That person will be created by your daily standards, your discipline, your mindset, and your willingness to improve when improvement is difficult. So when this speech ends, don't just feel motivated. Make a decision. Decide that the next version of yourself will be stronger than the current one. Decide that excuses will no longer control your future. Decide that growth will become your lifestyle. Because one day, 2027 will arrive, and when it does, you'll either meet it with pride, knowing you became everything you were capable of becoming, or you'll meet it with regret, wishing you had started sooner. The choice begins today.